All this action from the Super GP is proudly brought to you by Diode and their associate sponsors. The wind has picked up here. We've got some really tricky, chilly conditions. Ambient temperature right now, we're looking at about, 7 degrees Celsius. 7 degrees Celsius. Track temperature probably going to be close to the same of that. And down on track, you can see the riders starting to make their way to the front end of the grid. Third place is where we're going to head to, because it'll be to Tyrese Robert, and Rob Portman is going to be standing by there to have a quick chat to Tyrese once he takes up his grid position quickly, just to find out what the young man's plans are for today, how he's going to try and improve things from East London. Another man who needs to do some massive improvements, of course, is sitting in second on the grid. That's Luca Coccioni, and of course it's all about Tarek van der Merwe on the front row, but looks like these riders are good to go, and looks like Rob might be good to go as well down on the grid. Just having a look out of my window, I can see he's about to go and have a quick chat there to Tyrese Roberts and find out what the young man's plans are here for today, see if we can get all things sorted out. Down to Rob.
So we're on the grid now of the KTM 390 Cup. I'm here with Tyrese Robert, and Tyrese, not such a great East London, but here at Zwartkops, trying to get those points back that you lost.
Yeah, I feel like Zwartkops is my home. I'm definitely going to try my best. The weather looks good, so we'll see what happens.
How's track conditions looking out there?
It seems pretty dry, yeah, I won't lie. It actually seems dry.
Okay, well, good luck. We're going to go for the first race action of the day, so stick around. We'll catch up with the rest of the guys coming up later throughout the day.
Thanks, Rob. Tarek van der Merwe, Luca Coccioni, Tyrese Robert the front row. Then you've got Sam Lockhoff, Jason Lineker, and Ricardo Otto. Those are the top 6 riders in this 390, and they're all about to go and do battle here for a huge effort. One thing we have to mention is, of course, Ricardo Otto actually was the pole man, and unfortunately, being underweight yesterday in the Park Fermé area, he has been demoted down into 6th place. So he's got some work to do to come through the field as they start their warm-up lap and head down into turn number 1. You can see it won't be too much of an issue with only 2 rows of motorcycles to play with for Otto to make his way to the front end. So it's not really a massive penalty that's been implied there to him. Jason Lineker, he's a man who's got a huge mountain to climb here this weekend. Not having a great outing after his first round action at Cape Town. East London didn't go his way. As I mentioned, Luca Coccioni also with some problems down in East London. Didn't quite get going until the second heat of racing, and that was only after being pushed off the start line by his dad. So some work to do for 2 of the riders. The rest of them are all going to try and stay at the front and in the hunt for a victory. Trying to close down on Tarek van der Merwe. Tarek van der Merwe, remember, taking 2 wins in the East London Grand Prix circuit. At round 1, Lockhoff taking a win at his home track, so certainly knows what to do to get that motorcycle of his, the Samurai sponsored bike. That's bike number 44, heading up to the top of the hill and under braking into Sassel for the first time. As they get up onto the top there, you can see, just having a look and see what the track conditions are like there. You heard from Tyrese, it looks pretty dry. From our position up here in the top of the control tower, it looks pretty dry as well. But as I said, changeable conditions throughout the day are going to definitely be something to be concerned about. And we'll keep an eye on the skies all day long to ensure that none of the wet stuff comes down. But that also can provide for some great race action. And we've had some great wet weather races here at Zwartkops, as well as dry ones. And as they come to the line, it's all about Tarek van der Merwe. Can he do everything right from the word go? Van der Merwe is the man to catch, although he wasn't quickest in qualifying. As I said, Ricardo Otto was actually the quickest man on track and got bumped down to the back of the grid due to a technical infringement and his bike being underweight. They have to be 147 kilos, and he was deemed to be 144, so that's why he's starting in 6th place. But we are now under starters' orders and about to go racing. 2-minute board is up. Flicks over to the 1-minute board. We got 30 seconds. 5 seconds. Lights about to go on. Rob Portman has joined me for commentary as they blast off the line. It's a fantastic start coming out of Tyrese Robert. He goes right into the back of Tarek van der Merwe, and then it's Lockhoff. Coccioni with a terrible start. Look at that. Going into turn 1 in 4th place. Just behind him was Otto. Otto trying to really close down on Coccioni. Hasn't quite done that. Lockhoff under pressure as well from Coccioni as they go into 2. Coccioni will use his experience here as opposed to what Lockhoff hasn't had at Zwartkops. This is the first time this man's been to the track. He sits in 4th place behind Coccioni, who didn't get a good start. And they go through turn 3, and you can see just trying to hang on, and very close stuff between those top 4 riders.
The aim of the game here for the rest of the riders is not let Tarek van der Merwe get out front as he did at East London. You can see Coccioni already trying to make a move there on the inside of Tyrese Robert. Doesn't make it stick, but already Tarek van der Merwe has got 4 or 5 bike lengths And the rest of the field, that's not what they want to see. As far as Sam Lockhoff goes, with every lap, as he did in East London, he'll learn the track, he'll gain more experience. So watch out, especially in race number 2. If he can get ahead of those two guys, learn as much as he can from the riders ahead of him with the more experience, he's going to be a challenger in race number 2. But already, Tarek van der Merwe, it's not looking good for the rest of the field because he is checking out.
Yeah, he's getting to the front end. He goes through Mix FM corner now. And as you said, it was 4 and 5 going into turn 4. It's about 7 or 8 now, coming down into 8th place. Bike lengths I'm talking about. Tyrese Robert in 2nd place. Coccioni's on his tail, not letting Tyrese get away. As they come through and pass, there's a complete lap number 1. You can see it's not going to be an easy day in the saddle here for these 390s. They've got 12 laps of action to do. And as they come through into turn 1 again, Lockhoff hasn't quite been able to get onto the back end of 2 and 3. He's got a little bit of a bridge and margin to make up there. And the same thing applies to Otto. Otto's got to do some work to close down on Lockhoff and then on these two.
Otto as well also got 3 kilograms heavier, remember, so that bike won't be handling quite the same as it did yesterday, unfortunately, with that technical problem. So he's going to try and get through the field, but at the moment he's dropped way off the pack. We've got almost like a three group split here. It's Tarek van der Merwe out front. That 2nd place battle is very much between Tyrese Robert and Coccioni. Great to see Coccioni right up at the front end of the field where he belongs after a terrible start to the season so far. And just behind them, Lockhoff doing everything he can to try and stick with those two guys. And already Ricardo Otto, he's lost out on that slipstream and that tag effect. So at the moment, not looking good for the man, one of the biggest title challenges to Tarek van der Merwe.
Change up for 2nd. Coccioni going to 2nd place as they went into Sassel corner there at the top of the hill. Now they come down into the double right-hander known as Kenwood, past the Zoc Club there. There you can see it in the background. That is our Zwartkops Owners Club. And now as they come through the left-hander, that's Mix FM corner. And a lot of support being given by 93.8 here to this circuit. Great to see the involvement of the media houses in this, and particularly on a day like today. We're going to need all the assistance we can get as we go live on Facebook. We go live on supergp.co.za and diode.tv on the Try Us option. So that's what we need to be looking out for. If you're out there and you're in social media land, welcome. Big welcome to everybody out there worldwide. I know a couple of guys that have already tuned in. One of them being in Mauritius, the other one being in Germany. So welcome, guys. Hope you guys are enjoying all this coverage. And we're going to try and bring you all the action here today. Coccioni keeping an eye out and looking back the whole time, saying, come on, Tyrese, you got to work with me here. Let's go and get him.
Coccioni does look like he's got pace, but already Tarek van der Merwe out front, he's pulled too much of a gap. To close that gap on these KTM RC390s really is a mission around this Zwartkops track. Riders also just getting used to the conditions. Remember, they went out for the morning warm-up. The track wasn't as good as it is here now, so the track's still getting that build-up of track temperature, and then the lap times will come. But at the moment, van der Merwe of 1:15.2, the fastest rider on track. He's got a 2-second lead now over Coccioni and Tyrese Robert there in the final podium position. But the way things are looking, Tarek van der Merwe, if he picks up another double win for the day, that's another 50 points, 100 points from the last 2 race meetings. Really, that 32 by the end of the year could be a number 1. Coming down now into the final turn, it's still Tarek van der Merwe. There's Coccioni. Tyrese Robert doesn't have the same kind of pace as the 2nd place man, Coccioni. So we're going to have to wait and see. Tyrese Robert, can he just close that gap down? Just behind him is Sam Lockhoff. Ricardo Otto is starting to make a little bit of inroads now on Sam Lockhoff, but still a distant 5th place there and 6 seconds now behind the overall leader.
Yeah, it's a big maneuver there. He's got to try and pull here. Remember, he's already taken some victories here this season. So let's see how it goes here for this. Well, it's the first quarter of the race completed now. 3 out of 12. They're on to the 4th of 12, so heading into the first third. And really, these two guys, I don't think they've got an answer to the man out front. 1:14.8, that's pretty decent stuff. He was doing 13.7s yesterday in qualifying, so only a second off considering the track conditions, cooler temperatures. It's ideal here for Tarek. He can just stay that 2.5 seconds ahead, and it's all in the bag.
And that bike number 32, you could see who's been training him. He's got that same riding style as a certain Sheridan Moraes in the World Supersport. And you can see Tarek van der Merwe using everything that Shez has taught him because he's doing a great job out front. That is Jason Lineker, the other of the Samurai kids, all the way from Cape Town. First time out at the Zwartkops race circuit here, doing a great job out on track. But just at the moment, a little bit distant there in 6th place. But again, good championship points. Coccioni comes down to the final turn once again. He looks behind. Tyrese Robert just unable to stick to the back of Coccioni. So trying to do everything he can, but just a couple of tenths slower. But any mistake from the leading 2, and you know Tyrese Robert, he'll be there to pounce. Behind them, look at that now. Ricardo Otto is closing down on Sam Lockhoff just ahead of him.
Yeah, it's about half a second between the two of them, so it's definitely a maneuver there from the 74 onto the 44, and visibly as they come down into turn 2 now. Hard on the brakes, closes about a half a bike length more into turn 2. Very tricky hairpin. Yeah, if you've never been to Zwartkops, hairpin corner, and it drops away from you to the right-hand side, and you basically force wide, as you can see, right onto the outside of the circuit. Then you've got to cut back, and usually what happens is a lot of riders going into turn 3 will cut back too early. It's a very late apex corner. You've got to actually hang tight on the the left-hand side of the track for a lot longer than what you'd expect, and then bust over onto the right-hand side.
This is turn number 4, unfortunately, where Chase Holscher, he's down in the pit lane supporting his mates out on track, but that's where he had his big crash, and unfortunately he's still out of action. We caught up with him down in East London with that leg that could pick up any kind of DSTV channel you wanted.
Yeah, he definitely had the best diode. He had the best diode option with him that weekend. Yeah, Chase is back, and hopefully going to be on the mend really soon. But look at how tight things are getting here. We got our camera back up at turn 5 again. Great effort there from the boys downstairs. EFX doing a super job to bring us all this action via live streaming. Now down onto the braking markers, you can see Otto visibly and definitely on the hunt to get ahead of Lockoff.
Yeah, Tarek van der Merwe has just put in a 14.4. That's the fastest lap of the race. Extended that lead by another half a second over Coccioni. So it's now a 3-second buffer that he's got over the second place man. Tyrese Robert is 1.6 behind Coccioni, so not close enough to mount any kind of challenge. So this really is the battle on track at the moment. Lockoff versus Otto. We saw this down in East London, so they know each other's riding styles. They know exactly how to do it. And remember, Otto really did skin the cat and get it on the final lap there from Sam Lockoff down in East London. So Lockoff, he won't want a repeat of that, and he'll want to finish here. If he can get a 4th place first time out of Zwartkops, that'll be a really impressive ride from this youngster.
Definitely a man to watch out for in the future, considering the fact that he's got to grips with these bikes so quickly. His first time out, of course, going to win at his home circuit is a really good effort from the team and from the young rider. Let's see if he's able to find something special here this weekend and maybe get slightly higher up on the podium. He's got to get onto the podium first of all. Right now he's not in a podium position, but he's hoping that something goes wrong with the top 3. His teammate, quite a way down now, and probably going to be looking at about a minute or so. Yeah, a minute and 3 seconds there down to Lineker in 2nd place. Hasn't quite got to grips with the Zwartkops circuit just yet. It's not an easy track to learn, even though there's only 8 corners. There are some special Zwartkops lines that you can speak about, and once you get those, it of course makes your life a lot easier. Here they come across the line right in front of us, and very tight between Otto and Lockoff. Lockoff just defending right now and maintaining a decent margin. And it looks like Lineker is about to be caught and possibly passed by Tarek van der Merwe.
And Tarek van der Merwe looking very splendid in his new mass custom suit, all orange and black camo, so looking very stylish.
I haven't seen him the whole weekend.
Yeah, you can't. He's camo. He fits right in here with a shooting range just across the way.
Exactly, and just over the hill, of course, we've got Vonnerbloem Airport, where we've got that adrenaline air show that's going to be happening in the very near future too. A couple of motorcycle and car events as part and parcel of that air show. So wheels and wings going to go and play out at Vonnerbloem in the next couple of weeks. But Tarek van der Merwe certainly closing in now on Lineker, and that's a bit of a pity. I think Lineker will have to scratch his head and say, listen, what have I got to do to try and make this bike work better for me? Because if I can see the pace that my teammate is getting, how am I not being able to get the same kind of pace out of mine?
Yeah, that's exactly what he needs to do. He or maybe can even tag on to his teammate when they do come to lap him and just learn a little bit from him. And the Zwartkops, like you said, it seems like a very easy track to learn, but it's so hard. There's so many different lines and aspects to the track that you've got to learn. So if you can sit in someone's slipstream and follow them, it's really the best way to learn the Zwartkops track. And I remember from days gone by in qualifying, if a guy came past you and he was a 2.5 seconds faster than you, if you tagged onto him, you could find that 2.5 seconds very easily. But try and do it on your own, it was just a different ball game. So these guys, it's all about learning. Remember, Tarek van der Merwe, this is his first season in the KTM RC390 Cup, so doing an incredible job. If he can pick up the 50 points here again, first season in this championship to take the #1 plate, hey, that's a hell of an achievement.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really awesome to see. I mean, there's only one other person that would have done that, and that's, of course, in our very first time we had 390s. So William Friend has got that title already in terms of first season, but that was because it was the original season of this entire category. Yeah. But to come through here, what is he, 14 years of age now?
I think just turned 14 in the shade.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, there's a big future for these youngsters, and as you can see, not only for Tarek van der Merwe, but Coccioni. Tyrese Robert has definitely closed on Coccioni. It's now down to about 0.9 of a second between them. So hardly anything between them, and maybe this is good timing from him. Maybe he's just paced himself. I don't know if he's paced himself enough to close in the 4 seconds up the road to Tarek, but he's definitely still got a chance of Coccioni.
Yeah, Coccioni knows it because he looked behind him and he sees Tyrese Robert. He's almost closed a second now in this lap. He's on the tail, so that'll really inspire Tyrese Robert. That's exactly what he would have wanted to see. He's put in a really good lap there now, and a couple of laps ago it was almost 1.6 seconds. It's down to about 0.3 of a second. So Tyrese Robert now, he can sniff blood in the water here, and Coccioni is now pretty much a sitting duck because Tyrese Robert is coming, and he's coming fast. Oh, and a mistake, they're going into the hairpin from Coccioni. So I wonder if he's got some tyre problems or something with that bike. We know that he's had it so far this season, looking behind him again. So Coccioni not having it all his own way here in the second part of this race, and Tyrese Robert up now into second place. But Coccioni trying to get into the slipstream. Will he fight back going into turn number 4? Takes a brave man to do it on the brakes there. I don't think he's close enough now. But it's a great move from Tyrese Robert up into second, and those are 20 valuable points.
Yeah, it's going to be a good effort here for him. He's been consolidating down in East London. That's what we were told. And it's probably what he would have said if we'd got a full interview with him, but we just ran into a little bit tight. Here comes Coccione back at him, though. So Luca hasn't given this up just yet. He's certainly in for the fight. And you can see it's 0.4 of a second between the two of them as they came up to the top.
Yep.
Nothing between 67 and 22. Tyrese is up, of course, now into second place. He's not in third, so even with that graphic on the left-hand side, there's a bit of a change-up. Tarek comes across the line in front of us, completes another lap, and goes into the last third of this race.
Yeah, as I said earlier, it is a lot easier to follow at the Zwartkops track than it is to lead. So maybe Coccione just saw his pit board, that he wasn't pulling the gap that he was expecting to over Tyrese Robert. And it looked like a mistake, but maybe it was tactics to let Tyrese through, who has the better pace at the moment, and just follow him and make the move where it counts. So going into the final turn at Zwartkops, how many races have we seen won and lost there? So maybe Coccione's just lining up something there. Tyrese Robert now has a long look behind him. He sees that he hasn't pulled away from Coccione. So maybe some race strategy coming in here from the two riders.
0.2s and 2x2 they go. 0.2 between 22 and 67 for second and third place, and it's 0.2 between 44 and 74.
Yep.
So it's like kind of the battle for second and third and the battle for fourth and fifth that we're going to keep an eye on right till the checkered flag. Tarek, I think, has got this one. I don't think he has to worry too much. He's down into the 14 dead, so he's only 0.3 of a second off his qualifying time with these tricky conditions. So I think he's got it in the bag. But Otto is starting to make a move on Lockoff, and I think Coccione, as you mentioned, Rob, is not quite out of it yet.
I love that style there from Sam Lockoff coming at the top of the hill. He just stands that little 390 up, hanging off the side of the bike, Johnny Ray-esque. So really impressive young rider that is, but he's got a lot of pressure right behind him in Ricardo Otto. You can see going into the tight stuff at the top of the hill here. Oh, Sam Lockoff just a little bit wide, but Otto still not able to make the move here. The dice for second still going on, but will Otto now make a move going into the final turn on the brakes? No, just not late enough there. So Sam Lockoff once again will come across the line there in fourth place. But maybe Otto just doing the same thing that we saw down in East London, seeing that he doesn't have the pace to get past and pull away from Lockoff, so just trying to line something up for that final lap move.
Now we got 2 to go for these two, but a lap and a half to go for the leader because he's heading up into turn 4. So onto the braking markers into turn 2. Lockoff under big pressure here from Otto. Otto certainly applying the pressure late in the race and up the inside. That's a good move. That's a Zwartkop line there, but unfortunately just couldn't square it off and get the bike stood up in time. He just had a little wobble there, and that just cost him the opportunity of possibly going into the lead. So it's 0.3 between 2 and 3, and it's now even Stevens between those two, and they can see Otto on the inside, and he gets through.
Now Sam Lockoff looks like he's struggling a little bit with full lean angle. He's standing the bike up a lot more and not able to hit that apex. So I wonder if he's got some front suspension issues or tire issues. He's trying to fight back now at the top of the hill, and he does. What a brave man. Bike number 44, Sam Lockoff, straight back on the inside of Ricardo Otto. Runs a little bit wide. So here comes Ricardo Otto once again on the inside, but Lockoff, as brave as you like, just rails it around the outside, and he is not allowing Ricardo Otto through. Definitely got some problems though, because he's unable to hold that apex and hold the line.
Oh, we started the last lap with the top 3. They've just gone past us. This is 4 and 5, heading down into G&H Transport Extreme. And I can tell you this corner here has lots of action about to come this way, particularly between these two, and more importantly, I'd say for 4 and 5, because they're a little bit closer than what Coccione and Tyrese Robert are. Leader's already up into turn 4, and he's heading up to the top of the hill, but second and third place now onto that back straight. Tyrese just tucked in. Look at him trying to get as much slipstream as he can out of that bike. He knows Coccione's going to try something. Coccione's in the slip. Can he pull out? I don't think he's going to try it. He might get it up to the top of the hill heading into Sassel. That's probably the outbreaking maneuver he wants, because then he can try and block going into the final turn.
Tyrese Robert's got to get as much drive as he can. It looks like Coccione's got the better drive though. He pulls out of the slipstream now. Robert looks to his right, and there is Coccione. So has Coccione timed this to perfection? He goes on the inside. So Coccione now up into second place at the top of the hill. Can Tyrese Robert fight back now? They come through the right-hander. It's now the next right-hander, and then it's just 2 more left-handers left. And I don't know if Tyrese Robert has enough, but Tarek van der Merwe, he comes across the line. That's 3 wins in a row, but the second place battle, it's all about Tyrese Robert and Coccione. At the moment, Coccione has it coming into the final turn. We're going to have to wait and see who gets it.
Yeah, they come down into the final turn. Oh, what a move! Tyrese up the inside. Tyrese sneaks up the inside and gets the second place. Time to perfection. Well done, camera guys, for picking that up. Coccione, look at that. 13.828, a 13.897. Wow, that is incredible. 700ths of a second between the two of them. And Otto wins out over Lockoff. Big high fives. You can see, hey, I don't understand. I try hard, but you push and you get through, and you get second.
You can see Coccione a little bit disappointed with himself because he made the move at the top of the hill, but just couldn't couldn't make it stick. Real brave move there from Tyrese Robert, just to shove it on the inside in the final turn where it counts. So Greg will head down to the podium ceremony to catch up with our top 3 riders, which will be Tarek van der Merwe there. Another impressive victory from that young man. And of course, in second place, we've got Tyrese Robert, and third place is Tyrese Robert. Greg is on his way down there to the podium ceremony. It is quite a walk, so just give him a little bit of time, but I see all our riders have arrived there, so we'll catch up with Greg any second. Remember, we've got plenty of racing on track here for you today. You can see the weather conditions down in pit lane. It is freezing out there. I'm up in a nice warm commentary booth for now, but I know I've got to make my way down there at some point and brave the cold. But Greg has done that, so we'll catch up with our top 3 Super Junior riders any second now. As you can see, a very happy Tarek van der Merwe there, along with Kotshoni. A little bit disappointed he didn't pick up that second place, but Tyrese Robert did exactly what he needed to do. 20 points in the bag for that young man. So a great effort there from that team. Bike number 22, the Evolved Nutrition guys, doing a great job to put those bikes out on track. Really splendid looking KTM RC390 machines. So we're going to catch up with Greg. He's made it down there. So Greg, you got our top 3.
Thanks, Rob. Awesome stuff from our top 3 here, and making it back to the Diode podium for the podium ceremony. Chilly conditions up here is definitely going to make it difficult later on for the next couple of races coming up. But these guys didn't have to worry about it. They gave us hard racing as always. We're going to get them up there, top 3. In third place after they get little Pirelli caps. Let's get Luca Coccioni onto the podium. He's going to be happy with it after a couple of dismal rounds to start this year. Sure, happier after seeing the dice he's had now. So Luca, up you go, onto third place. Second place, bombing up inside right at the final stages, and a good effort there from Tyrese. That's good effort there, but up you go, up on the second. And once again at the top 3 out of 3 now for Tarek van der Merwe. Let's hear it for our top 3 in Super Juniors, ladies and gents. Third place from Gas Sports, that'll be Tim Cook. He'll hand that out to Luca Coccioni. Worked hard for that one. High fives all round. Yo, how's that, eh? Little Liebenberg sneaking in here out of nowhere. He's going to hand out second place. Up you go. Second place there, sir. Going to hand that out to Tyrese Robert. Nicely done. And finally, John Chubb is going to hand out first place, representing KTM here, to Tarek van der Merwe. Let's make some noise there, ladies and gents. Your top 3. That's what it's all about. Let's have a quick chat to them as well. Come on down, guys. Top 3, exactly what you wanted, but I'm sure you want to be higher up on the podium than what you were. But an awesome, awesome dice between you and Tyrese.
Definitely, it was an awesome dice between us two. We had a lot of fun, and unfortunately for me, he got me in the last corner, but I knew it was coming. And well done to Ty and well done to Tarek. It was a great race.
Much better outing for you as well, considering the effort that you put in down in East London, and of course having to start with a bit of a push from Dad. So I think the bike's working a bit better.
Yeah, much better. We had a tough start in the starting of the season, but we're back now, and I'm really happy about it.
Super stuff. Hope to see you a little bit higher up in race number 2.
Thank you.
Right, Tyrese. You can stay right where you are. That's all good there. We spoke about consolidation down in East London. We knew you were going to have some problems here. You come to what is kind of your home circuit, so things look good. You got a little bit of work still to do to catch Tarek.
Did well, and I'm proud of myself and well.
Awesome. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna block balls. I'm just gonna try to do my best to get a better start and just be with him and see where we go from there. I just want to say thank you to everyone that helped me. SPK, Aria.
Awesome job. We'll see you later. All right, T, come on in here. Has anybody seen Tarek? By the way, has anybody seen Tarek? I can't see him anywhere. He's got so much camo on, I can't see him anywhere. Dude, that's 3 out of 3.
Sure, it's awesome, and I'm super excited.
Obviously. Listen, okay, you've got the pace here, so all you got to worry about is keeping it upright and making sure you get to the flag on time. It's worked well for race number 1. What are you going to do now for race 2?
Race 2, just going to follow the same procedure, try breakaway again, and just carry on having a mental game and be strong.